So what, are we actually going to sing the whole thing?
If you want.
Okay.
Standing in the dark of Southampton, trying to get to Holland or France.
We interrupt this cover of the Ballad of John and Yogo to tell you we had to remove it because of YouTube's copyright system. You can instead find it on our Patreon page that doesn't exist. Nick was sitting further from the microphone in this episode because he dumb, so his voice is quieter than Ben's.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Temporary Uncles podcast.
Who have you appeared as today, Mein Führer?
Herman von Strinkelstinkel.
Herman von Strinkelstinkel?
Yes.
From the famous Strinkelstinkel dynasty that owns all those dentist factories.
Yes.
What are you doing here?
I'm here to give you your dental exam results.
Okay, well, how did I do? Did I pass?
You've got teeth.
Great! I always wondered why it felt so funny when I bit into those apples with my lips. There's a lot more bite than I expected.
Your teeth in the back of your mouth are trying to escape.
Where to?
Space.
Back to Germany with you.
Yes, they want to come with me.
So you can melt them down and turn them into fine china.
Fine china.
The finest.
Finest of all the land.
You're nowhere near the microphone, by the way. You're just speaking into the back of it.
Am I really allowed to say you can't hear me?
I think there was a good chance that wasn't picked up at all.
Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
No!
Is this better?
Actually, that was picked up. Come over here, you dank witch.
I'ma eat your asshole.
I can do. No. Don't threaten me with no good time, stranger.
No, don't touch my bottom.
Sure, I could if you'd like.
Father Johnson.
Father Johnson?
Father Johnson, keep away from my asshole.
It's part of the sacrament. First,
Eating the body of Christ.
I bless your hole. Second, I play a little tune across it. You know how you play the flute? How you blow air across the hole and you press down the pistons? The same happens. I blow across your corn monster and then...
You corn monster.
and I twiddle your bottom.
I twiddle.
And I blow...
on your cheeks.
I blow a nice tune about lobsters.
I had a feeling you'd try to work it in.
It's
Ben's
necessary.
doing an Irish accent. I wonder if he's going to make a lobster reference.
You know me too well.
Yes.
I don't think anyone else gives a shit enough to be like, I recognise a pattern between your attempt to make every man in Ireland Colin Farrell.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah. I'm good. How are you? Anyway, what did we do since the last time we recorded this godforsaken podcast?
So we did go to a concert.
We went to a concert. We went and saw King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard.
And who opened for King Gizzard?
Bitch Diesel and Mild Life.
Bitch Diesel and Mild Life.
Yeah.
I'll let those of you at home those who are playing from home guess which one of those bands was any good.
I liked Bitch Diesel, but I think that the instruments weren't calibrated properly, for lack of a better word.
So Bitch Diesel is a trio of ladies, which is where they get the bitch from, which I don't know why I was specifically surprised about what a Bitch Diesel might be, but it has three women, one of whom I'm confident was replacing someone else.
No, that's all three of them right there.
All three of them are original members that are meant to be in the band.
Yes.
Because the guitarist looked like she'd just heard what a guitar was yesterday. Not that she started playing, but she was unfamiliar with the concept of the instrument up until moments before we went on.
Okay. Her guitar was not loud enough. We couldn't really hear it at all.
Yeah, so there was
The drum and the bass were much louder than the guitar was.
There were a bass playing singer who wore yellow. There was a drummer who wore blue.
Yeah.
And there was a guitar player who wore red because you've got to be, I don't know, because primary colors are important.
Well, no, because they've been wearing different outfits on all the shows because I follow them on Instagram.
But basically, the rhythm section was alright. There's like a really, it'd be like if
This is what they look like.
if
in
Royal
LA.
Blood was grungier. But then the guitar play, you know when you watch like a Japanese film and and they've decided to dub it in English, and you see the mouth movements are nowhere near what is actually that which you're hearing. It was like that. You would watch, as far as the guitar player is concerned, because I think there was a lot of pedal business going on. There was a lot of, I'm gonna play this D shape, this D chord shape in 7 different places on the neck and strum as if I'm playing a Beach Boys tune. But then what comes out is not that. Is not what you would expect.
Yeah.
So it was strange.
But I thought that they were fine. I had a good time listening to them play on the stage, and they had good, especially the singer had a very good energy on the stage, so she made it a lot more fun than it would have been if they were all just standing there playing the instruments.
I mean, yeah, the best bit was the fact that they had attitude.
Yeah.
They had chutzpah.
Chutzpah.
They had a passion for being there. There was a fire that burnt within them that was burning a bitch diesel.
I like that because we're still in the early stage of their career. I'm very interested to hear just, the progression of the music that they make.
Because you've heard their studio work.
Yeah, they've only got like 5 songs, so, Yeah, not a lot. 3 videos on YouTube and 6 singles on Bandcamp, one of which is an alternate version of a different single, so...
Of course.
Yeah. I think maybe the live version or something.
It's like when you buy the CD single of Smash Mouth's fucking I'm a Believer, and you get All Star and 4 versions of I'm a Believer. You get their original version, the Shrek take, a remix version, and then fucking something else.
Yeah, so it's the
Michael's got that.
Snoop Dogg remix.
Yeah.
The boys went on a weird tangent that turned into a boring explanation of the Terminator films, so I interrupted to bring you up to where it became funny again.
Yeah.
What is a play ball? What is...
Yeah.
You do it like it's fun. I'm a child in a war zone. What is fun? I do not... Is it a kind of bomb? No, it's the feeling inside. What
is this Disney's The Terminator 2?
Yeah, this is a Disney pays out James Cameron.
I mean, Disney owns The Terminator now, technically, because they're Fox movies.
Okay. Does that mean that Sarah Connor's a Disney princess?
No, because she's not a princess.
No, any woman, any main character woman in a Disney film is princess, Nicholas. She is the mother of a dynasty of Reece's Pieces. She goes on to be a lolly magnate in the New World.
She's the princess of the Reecees Pieces dynasty.
Did you fucking say PCs?
Yeah, Reecees Pieces.
Yeah, they make computers and chocolate peanut snacks. No one had considered making a personal computer out of a delicious nutty treat because it's a fucking stupid idea.
Not PCs as in personal computers. It's just pieces, but you pronounce the E.
No, you don't. If you're a moron, you say it like that.
Reecees Pieces.
Yeah, if you're an idiot and you don't know how to speak English, you'll say because there are people that go, oh yeah, well PCs rhymes with Reecees. Yeah. But it doesn't, because Reece's. It's not Reecees. It's that which belongs to Reece, Reece's, and his pieces.
You're taking this stupid pronunciation of Reece's Pieces really personally.
Look, it's fine if Sarah Connor is Disney princess. It's fine.
No, but she's not.
It's fine if a battle bot from the future has arthritis. That's fine. What's not okay is pronouncing the word pieces like pieces or Reece's, that which belongs to a man called Reece, Reecees. Oh, because, well, Reecees doesn't rhyme with PCs, so it's got to be Reecees PCs. But it was never fucking PCs in the first place. It was always pieces.
Man rants about pronunciation of Reese's Pieces for 10 minutes.
It's wrong. I have too much respect for the combination of peanuts and chocolate to stand by and let this happen.
Hey, Ben.
Peanut butter and chocolate is delicious.
Ben. Reese's Pieces.
Fuck you!
What were we doing? Oh yeah, we were talking about Bitch Diesel.
Yeah. Thanks, Bitch Diesel.
Anyway, so yeah, I liked it. Ben didn't.
Brought to you by Bitch Diesel.
Mild Life, on the other hand.
Oh, great.
Yeah. No complaints.
They're
were
like
fantastic.
a fusion. Yeah, they were like jazz
Yeah,
fusion.
that was just a fusion. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, like, jazz fusion is often referred to as just fusion, so I don't know if...
Well, it's like electronic jazz funk.
I mean, there's a lot of
Soul,
synth
brother.
and things in jazz fusion anyway, so it's not even that...
But like, it's not just jazz. There was a lot of just like, there's a lot of funk as well.
Yeah, well, the fusion, like, speaks to... I think it speaks to, like, funk and
there
rock.
there was some like actual electronica elements to it, not just jazz with synth. But there was like electronica stuff and like sampling and drum
Well, and drum.
and drum.
There was a drum.
There was a drum,
I can speak
yeah.
to the presence of a drum kit of some
Well, there were
description.
3 on stage. There was the one that was used for Bitch, Diesel, and Mile Life, and then they took that off, and because there was already the big 2 that were on stage for King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, which we will now talk about.
The Big 2, starring Cavs and...
What are the names of the
Eric.
drummers from King
Cavs and Eric.
Yeah, I knew
Because
there was
Eric loses kick drum privileges and Cavs...
He's got them back. He got them back.
Yeah, he did for this show. For this show only, kick drum privileges starring Eric.
Yeah.
Eric, the manager.
But no, that King Gizzard and the Lizard was fucking fantastic. I underestimated the power of the mosh pit. Because
Yeah.
I'd never been in one before. And so we got separated. You managed to stay up the front.
Yeah.
But because I was already standing behind you and our new friend.
I'd glued myself to the behind of our new friend so I didn't get lost.
Yeah. Grabbed onto her bottom.
Oh, there was no grabbing involved. It was just about trying to stay planted like a weed in a garden. It was
Yeah.
just like imagine getting. And for those of you who haven't been in a mosh pit before, imagine being pushed 3 different ways by 10 rows of people.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Luckily, but the thing is, when I was pushed back, I also just made sure that I wasn't in that part of the mosh pit now. I was just in the part where people were dancing rather than in the part where people were pushing each other.
You got out of the danger zone.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun despite being by myself. But that was okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do that a second. Like, the only way that I would consider doing it would be if I was in the same position as if I was in, right up the front, so I was not getting the brunt of the PA and I could, see the people.
Yeah. Well, no, even from where I was standing, I had a really good view of the band, so...
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but you're also you're 5 centimeters taller than me, so...
That's true.
If I don't have, a clear line of sight, then
Yeah.
I'm blinded. I can't see.
Yeah.
Like, when I went to see Snarky Puppy, I was like, I want to stand in the crowd.
Yeah.
And it was stupid, because I wasn't so far up the front that I could, see Michael League, but I also wasn't far away enough to be able to look over the heads of all of the tall people.
You can see the position change in the vlog that I made. You can see, in the very first clip of King Gizzard, I'm, right up the front. I've got no one in front of my, phone camera. And then as soon as, it cuts to the next bit, I've got, all these people in front of me. So I had to put in just a little caption at the bottom that said, I was pushed back by the mosh pit.
Yeah. One thing that I had to keep in mind, which I wasn't prepared for, was the position of my hands and arms. Because if my hands and arms were in front of me, and I got pushed from the back, then I had to think, well, how are my arms going to get mashed into someone? Am I going to get into a position where I can't pull myself up or use my arms at all, or am I in a position where I'm going to break a wrist or something? So keeping my arms up above my head seemed to be the safest bet.
Yeah.
And it means that you could do all your fist pumping nonsense that you young people do, and I could rest my arms on the shoulders of other people because it was a very touchy environment.
You young people saying to a crowd that are probably older than, like the majority of people probably older than us.
There
probably were a lot of people that were our age, but I'm sure there were probably a lot of people who were also the band's age, so like mid-20s too.
I think that the band's main audience, is people that are either about our age or a little bit older.
Yeah.
There were some people there that were sort of like the ages of our parents and older.
The parents of the band.
Yeah, we think maybe that's Stu's mum. Yeah. But
no. But yeah, the band was fantastic. Like the selection of songs are really good. Probably like on our part, probably not best that they started with like one of the hard songs from their new album.
I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't necessarily prepared.
Yeah, no, exactly. We weren't prepared at all for them to start like that.
Because the crowd is really responsive to the type of music. Like when they're playing the Bird song, people don't mosh as hard as if they play Self-Immolate.
Yeah.
So starting off with
there was I had a fantastic view of the mosh pit that was behind you guys during Self-Immolate, because I think it was either during Self-Immolate or Evil Death Roll that they had everyone was going around in a circle. In the mosh pit.
Yeah.
It was just a huge circle of people. Everyone was just going around, running it around in a circle. That was fantastic. And then, and because I love King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I had a great time because I loved the music.
Yeah, it was excellent. And I was thinking...
Excelente.
I'm like, they might not play Rattlesnake. They won't do it.
No, but they had to.
But then you saw the banana come out and you're like, okay.
Yeah. No, they had to play... if they were going to play anything off Flying Micro Turtle Banana, they were going to play Rattlesnake.
Well, they might not have played anything off the album full stop.
That's a song that like you can easily just immediately get the audience to sing along with.
Well, yeah.
Because it's literally just Rattlesnake, 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 Rattlesnake.
Because the thing is, if you want to play anything off of that album, you have to have your whole other set of instruments to play. But like looking at the instruments that they used, it seems that that most of them either had just the one instrument to play all the stuff that didn't require ridiculous tuning.
Yeah.
And then they had their microtonal instruments.
Yeah.
And that was, I think Joey swapped guitars a couple different times.
Stu swapped a guitar every song. He had so many different guitars.
Because he had like an Explorer that had some weird wood relief in it, like it had holes and shit in it. And then he had his microtonal banana.
He had a few. He had like a red one. He had a black one. He had a brown one. He had the banana.
He may have.
I saw a red one. There was definitely a red one and a black one. I don't know about the brown one, but there was at least the red one, the black one, and the banana.
Well, yeah, the weird, like the Explorer shaped guitar, I think was red and black. I think like it was sort of like a red burst, so the outsides of it were black, and the inner of it was more.
I learned a lot more about like the who does vocals of certain songs, because I didn't know Joey sang that much.
Yeah, because he does this thing. I think he actually sings a couple songs off of Fishing for Fishes.
He sang quite a lot of the songs in the whole set too. And then they had a few songs that also Ambrose sang.
Which ones do? Or like
he sings any of the ones that just need a high voice.
Because
like a female sounding.
The only ones that I know that he sings lead on is like Hot Wax. He often contributes backing vocals to most things, exactly. And a lot of harmonies and stuff.
I didn't say he was the lead singer on a song.
Oh yeah,
he sang a few songs.
Oh yeah, there's quite a lot of them that just require backing or harmonies. Yeah, he's on. You can't hear the nodding, but we nodded in agreement at each other because we know. Yes.
So that was King Gizzard. If you had already seen the vlog that I uploaded a few days ago, you would also know that I went to the cinemas twice that weekend. Once with my friends, we went and saw Child's Play and Annabelle Comes Home. And then 2 days later, Ben and I went to the Astor in St Kilda, and we saw Grindhouse.
And it was great.
It was fantastic. That's the kind of movie that you like. It really benefits from seeing in a theater, especially with a film projector, because it just adds to the whole Grindhouse aesthetic of the movie. And
Yeah.
the people working at the Astor clearly have a sense of humor because of the trailers they played beforehand.
Yeah, like I was really unsure as to how that came to be because because as people who know about Grindhouse, they'll know that there are a series of fake trailers at the beginning.
No, in the middle.
In the middle.
In the middle of the
So there's none at the start.
I think the only
Because
trailer...
I thought there was one.
There's one trailer that plays at the very beginning, which is Machete.
Okay, so yeah.
And then there are the other trailers that play in between them, which are Don't, Thanksgiving, Werewolf Women of the SS, and on some versions, Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they found a bunch of B-movie
Well, they found a bunch of actual Grindhouse movie trailers. and
to
they
play
played
at the
those.
beginning.
Yeah.
And they're all fantastically similar. They're all Don't something.
Yeah, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was Don't Go in the Basement.
Yeah.
Don't
Look out the window.
don't look out the window.
Don't open the wardrobe or the
don't
closet.
open the door. Don't go in the house.
Don't go upstairs.
And don't answer the phone.
And they're fucking stupid. It's just...
But yeah, no. And the best thing was just the fact that they played one after the other. So every time the title came up, everyone started laughing because of how continually ridiculous the movies got as well. That's the thing I think is common with the Astor. Apparently, they just play either trailers that go well with the movie and like kind of set the tone, or just trailers for movies that they will be playing soon. So not necessarily trailers for movies that are coming soon.
Yeah.
So they won't be playing like the new Stuber trailer or the new Hobbs and Shaw trailer or whatever.
Yeah.
They would play the new Tarantino movie trailer because there is a new Tarantino movie coming out soon, right?
Yeah.
And that makes sense because Death Proof is a Tarantino movie.
I mean, like, yeah, but with all of
That's
the...
it. That's the only new trailer they play.
Yeah, like with all those curated, fantastic trailers, because like there is a phenomenon that like Nick and I would be more familiar with. Like when you look at TV shows on competing free-to-air channels, where they'll be like every channel has got a cooking show, every channel has got a home renovation show, every channel has got like a looking for love show, and you go, great. None of these are original. They all come from a show from somewhere else, and then also 9 and 7 and 10 have decided that they've got to have one.
Yeah.
So you can see those copycat things. But then when you look at the trailers of these Grindhouse films, you think, right, someone released a movie which was Don't X, Don't Go, Don't Do, blah, 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 blah. It's got a buxom lady in it, or a series of...
Well, yeah, so it's a
series of young people.
A trend in the titling of these crappy exploitation movies.
There's all these movies where there's someone getting undressed in a room and someone spies and they come in and they get stabbed. Well, yeah, that's the movie.
It was like with horror in like the late 70s and during the 80s, there was a whole bunch of movies where the title was a date.
Yeah, okay.
You started with Black Christmas, and then Halloween, Friday the 13th, and then like a whole bunch of other ones that are just named after holidays, you know?
Yeah, so it's like titularly they're similar, thematically they're similar, they're all narrated, it's all like
This
I mean,
summer,
every
if you pass
trailer
by the house,
like,
don't go and do the thing.
Every like horror movie that came out that time had that narrator. It was just like, this summer,
the most terrifying thing that you can imagine will happen to you. Don't do the thing. Don't
go in the basement.
Think about it. Don't.
If you're thinking about seeing this movie,
don't. Don't give them money. They'll only kill more people. This is real.
Yes.
They have
an
me.
Actual snuff film.
They captured me and forced me to do a voiceover.
Don't.
That's why they're all so familiar. I've been forced to voice over 17 different films that are all about not doing something. Don't brush your teeth and then eat food immediately after. It will taste minty.
Don't swim 30 minutes after eating your lunch.
Don't swim after 30 minutes?
If you're going to swim, do it immediately after you eat. After 30 minutes.
Otherwise, the catching man will catch you.
The catching man.
This summer brings the murderer. He kills people. Don't associate with the murderer.
Yep.
Don't do dangerous things.
That's pretty much any crappy grindhouse horror movie from the 70s. Don't know the murderer.
Don't put yourself in compromising situations where you might be more vulnerable to being stabbed.
Don't go out alone late at night when there is a murderer about.
If there is a murderer going about and you need to go and run an errand in the evening, let someone know where you are and have a mode of communication on you at all times.
Or just don't.
Don't.
And all of them are that.
Yep.
Like, how... I don't know how aware people were or how sick people were of
there were
these
probably
things.
plenty of people who just went because of how schlocky and crappy these movies were.
They went for the same reasons that we go to those things.
Yeah, exactly.
They just go, this looks stupid.
Bad movies that are fun to watch are a communal event, especially among people who love watching crappy movies.
Yeah.
And
So
like,
you
it's a
take your
phenomenon.
chick.
It's not a new phenomenon at all. Watching bad movies because they're fun. It's a thing that existed in the Grindhouse era, and that's what made those movies so popular. They had double or triple features for the price of a single feature. That plenty of people would just go and have fun, have a fun night out. You know, like what we did with the with Grindhouse that night. I'm sure the Astor probably played its fair share of Grindhouse double features back in the day. You know.
So all those like the Brian Trenchard Smith
I'm
films,
sure that they probably played at the Astor.
they're just completely ridiculous, absolutely self-aware. It's like, we know that it's dumb. Come and see it. It's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Alvin Purple
It's
wasn't
not
seen by
self-aware,
serious
it's not,
film
but the thing
goers.
is, those movies weren't like necessarily self-aware to the point of parody, right? Not like the movie Grindhouse,
Yeah.
where it's a self-aware parody homage to those movies.
Yeah.
These movies may have been self-aware that they're bad,
Yeah.
but they're still bad. They're not trying to make them bad on purpose.
Yeah, the people making them knew that it was
Yeah.
way over the top.
It's like how the Fast and Furious movies, they know that they're completely over the top action movies and they own it, and so
Yeah.
they have fun with it.
Yeah, it's like the Evil Dead.
don't
It's
try-
not
they're
it's
not-
not all
yeah.
looking into the camera and winking. It's just
Exactly.
like, okay, we're gonna have a scene where there is way too much blood, and then someone's gonna walk out topless and get stabbed, and then the whole house is going to explode.
Yeah.
That's the movie.
Yeah, and then everyone's just like, okay, that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Let's watch it.
That's acceptable.
Yeah. Well, it's just like, yeah, it's like with Hobbs and Shaw. There's a scene where they jump out of a building and land on an elevator. Okay, cool. That sounds cool. Do that. I will watch. I will pay money to see that.
But then there are some things that like go out of their way. It's like, hey, did you guys see The Room? Wasn't that stupid? And then you get Sharknado. You go,
Yeah.
this is just bad. I don't like this.
The Room is a fun movie because of earnestness.
Yeah, because Tommy Wiseau is really serious
But the
about
thing
it.
is, and also, it's not completely incompetent, the movie. There is actual, like, camera work, and there's movement that is actually quite okay. I'm
Yeah,
not
probably
saying
'cause he
it's
hired
good.
people that know how to use a
And that's
camera.
the thing. So because the movie isn't completely incompetent,
Yeah.
it's a little more fun to watch than something like Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is still fun,
Yeah.
but also very boring because of the fact that the guy making the movie and the actors that he hired and the camera people don't know what they're doing.
That's Ed Wood, isn't it?
Ed Wood, yeah.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he's good. He knows that the movies he makes like he thinks that these movies that people will want to see because they're fantastic.
It's a real Hollywood movie.
Yeah. Whereas Tommy Wiseau, while making The Room, probably thought it was going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and he knows now that the movie is not great. I'm sure he's still a little bitter that people don't like it, but he has accepted the fact that people think his movie is fun because it's silly,
Yes.
and he's owned it, and he's got that personality now, and he's famous because of the fact that he made a movie that's not very good.
Well, he has adapted, but the thing is, like, everything else that's come out since then, I don't know whether it's Tommy
Trying
embracing
to-
the meme or if he's actually genuinely trying to make things that he thinks are good, and it just so happens
I
that
think-
the things that he
I
makes
actually
are all
think-
rubbish.
I actually think the problem is that now he's not bothering to try and make something that's good. He's trying to replicate the success of The Room. So something like that movie that he had the trailer for, Big Shark. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think he's actually trying to make a good Big Shark movie. I think he's just trying to make a crappy horror movie, and that's the problem. It's probably not going to get as popular as The Room.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to make a bad movie. Because that's the thing. Like Birdemic, for example, people have seen the first Birdemic because it's absolutely horrible. And then the director of Birdemic made Birdemic 2, which was trying to be as bad as the first one, and everyone's just like, no. This is not good. This is not even so bad it's good. It's just bad now because you're trying to make it bad. You know?
Yeah. It's what we find funny.
The best kind of bad movies are the ones that aren't trying to be bad.
It's the dissonance between authorial intent and actual product.
Every now and then you can have something that is being schlocky and campy on purpose that is still fun to watch because of the intent of the filmmaker. So something like Blood Drive. You saw the trailer for that, right?
I imagine that I did.
It's a show on Sci-Fi that is completely in debt to the Grindhouse era.
Oh yeah, I remember you said
where cars are powered by blood and it's just full of all this stupid shit.
Yeah.
But it knows what it is, and it's not trying to be bad, it's trying to be fun.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The Sharknado movies, they're trying to be bad.
Yeah.
Blood Drive is trying to be fun.
It's the same spirit that Grindhouse, the film Grindhouse has made.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we like this, we enjoy it, it's over the top, and it's made in good humor as a nod to the movies that we like, as opposed to people going, hey, let's cash in on the so bad it's good thing.
Yeah.
Let's make something that's stupid.
Yeah,
but that ends up being stupid, and that's...
I think that's what happened with the Machete movies. The first Machete really lends itself to trying to be a Grindhouse movie.
Yeah.
The second movie just kind of becomes a crappy B-movie action movie that is not as self-aware as it likes to think it is.
Yeah.
The first movie is this genuinely fun to watch, stupid action movie because that's what Robert Rodriguez made. And then he went a bit too far with the second one, and he made that one a bit too crappy, a bit too stupid, and a bit too silly. And it just became a little bit of a bad movie. It's still fun, but nowhere near as fun as the first one. It's just a worse movie than the first Machete.
Is the trailer for Machete that we see, is that...
That's the movie. That's what became the movie.
Yeah, so the movie that actually exists, are all the beats that are in that trailer, do they exist in the film?
Yeah, they do.
So there's a guy who gets double-crossed and almost dies, and then he goes and he recruits his priest friend who used to be a killer, and he comes back, and the guy that they're trying to fight is like, where's my wife and daughter? And Machete is having sex with both of them in a waterfall. He does that
in the movie as well, yeah. That's great. I do really hope that Robert Rodriguez does eventually round out the trilogy with Machete kills again in space, you know? Just to see how absolutely stupid it can get.
Is that something that already semi-exists?
Yeah, in trailer form at the end of Machete Kills, there is a trailer for Machete Kills Again in space.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like how people want Mel Brooks to make like Spaceballs 3, The Search for Spaceballs 2.
Okay, I thought he was just going to make Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. At this point, I think it's a bit late now. It would have been great if he made it after The Force Awakens. But at this point, I think it's a bit late.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, no, unless he does go in on the whole, oversaturation of Star Wars. If he makes this movie a parody of, how much Star Wars there is now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But, it's in a universe where everything's all Star Wars out.
That's even assuming that Mel Brooks wants to make more movies.
Yeah,
he's in his 90s now, so probably not.
Yeah, I think that all his energy is dedicated to going around and visiting Carl Reiner. Isn't
he made
his son, the guy that wrote World War Z, that's also someone that's also...
That's Max Landis, I think. World War Z?
The guy who wrote the comic, or the guy who wrote the book, not the movie.
Oh.
Because I think that's a Brooks, and then the movie ended up being complete tripe.
I heard the movie was okay.
I heard that it doesn't resemble the source material in any way.
The movie is directed
it shares a title and only the title.
Oh, okay. But I still heard the movie is good on its own.
I mean, it's just an action film, but as far as, the thing that it was meant to be, it's not.
Max Brooks, author of World War Z.
Yeah.
Is the son of Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft. And so, yeah, he's an actor, an author, and now, he's written a few Minecraft books. Yeah. And he's also the director of the movie Sam, which is a crappy gender swap comedy.
Oh, great.
Yeah. The world needed more of those.
I mean, I don't want to...
There can be good movies that have gender swaps in them, but unfortunately, not a lot of them exist.
Yeah.
Most of the good ones tend to be cross-dressing movies rather than gender swap
White Chicks.
No, movies like Some Like 'Em Hot.
I haven't seen that.
It's a Marilyn Monroe. Well, it has her in it, but she's not the one who...
Does she pretend to be a bloke?
No. So it's about, I think these two guys who are, like, hiding from, like, either the police or from criminals.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen it. And then they dress up as women and join, like, an all-women jazz band who tours with Marilyn Monroe, who is playing a character, but is basically just Marilyn Monroe.
She's just her.
Yeah. But yeah,
She's like Charlie Sheen, where all of the characters are called Marilyn.
And it's directed by Billy Wilder, so it's going to be good.
And
he did Sunset Boulevard.
Any relation to Gene?
No. Maybe. Oh wow, he. It's always interesting when you when you look up like directors or filmmakers or actors or something from like the golden age of Hollywood, and you see that they died in like 2002 instead of like the 80s or like something. You just because you associate Billy Wilder with just the movies he made in the 50s and 60s. So movies like Some Like It Hot, Sunset Boulevard, Double Indemnity, Ace in the Hole, The Apartment, and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that. That's why it's weird to hear like Kubrick and Tom Cruise in the same sentence.
And then he also died in 2002.
Jesus.
And I'm gonna see if he made any movies. I'm gonna see what the last movie he made was. Excuse me while I have a strange interlude. Billy Wilder filmography. The last movie he made was in 1981.
Was in 1842.
When was the last film that Mel Brooks made? Like, was actually on set?
Something, and it had Dracula, Dead and Loving It. And
Any
from
good?
what I've heard, it's his worst movie.
Okay, well that's not good.
Yeah. 1995, starring Leslie Nielsen as Dracula.
Okay.
And Mel Brooks as Van Helsing.
Okay.
And I do want to watch it just because it's a Mel Brooks movie and just to see how bad it really is. But, 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I really care about Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, it's the reason why you don't
point.
listen to like Paul McCartney's recent work. It's like
I watched a music video he did recently with Emma Stone.
that was good, yeah.
That one was okay. The music video was, I think, better than the song was. Not that the song was particularly bad.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where you go like together as a video and as a song, it's one complete piece.
It's good, yeah.
But the song on it by itself is like, okay, it's a song.
Yeah.
But it's like
it's like he's probably not gonna make another Say or Live and Let Die. Yeah.
It's like, I adore the Beatles. I think that Wings are excellent, but I don't really want to hear Egypt Station because if it's shit, then I don't want that to shape the way that I think of Paul McCartney. It's like why I didn't go and see him live. Like my dad actually got the opportunity to see Paul.
Did he like it?
Yeah, apparently he was excellent. But the thing is, like, I've seen some live performances of Paul in the last, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are not very good.
Okay.
And so I don't really want to hear him wheeze his way through Let It Be. But because someone was going to see him and then they couldn't go, so they gave Dad a ticket. So he didn't, buy it expecting to go. He just got the opportunity because someone pulled out. And I think in that circumstance, I'm like, I don't know if I want to pay $150 to see a Beatle and hate it.
Yeah.
Just as like Roger Waters came and toured, love Pink Floyd, and I think even some Roger Waters solo stuff like Amused to Death is really good.
Yeah.
But I've seen some live performances where he basically is there to appear and to sing, but there's always 10 singers who are doing backups and ghosting his voice, and there's always also even when he's got his bass in his hand, there's someone else playing bass as well.
Yeah.
So he'll play acoustic guitar for Mother or something. And that'll kind of be it. I don't want to just see an 80-year-old man stomp about and complain about Israel.
Yeah.
That's going to taint the image of Roger Waters for me.
The Rolling Stones, for example, might still be entertaining to go see because Mick Jagger, at 150, is still spry and really running around the stage like he's still 50,
Yeah, and Mick was never a very good singer. It was just,
but he's
a spectacle.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
And regardless of... And he's one of those not very good singers who still manages to make his voice enjoyable.
Oh, he's
because
very
of his
unique.
because of his energy and
Yeah,
stuff.
you can pick Mick out of a crowd really
Yeah.
easily because he's so. But he wasn't. He was never like a technically awesome singer. But that
Yeah.
adds to the reasons why you can still go and see him, because it's not about like can he hit the notes. Like he still sounds like Mick. He still
Yeah.
dances.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Keith Richards is still a great guitar
There are
player,
plenty
and
of
Ron Wood is.
plenty of like good bands that through the mixture of very good music and energy can make even like an okay singer sound good.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like a lot of a lot of bands I listen to probably don't have like Damon Albarn is not the greatest singer ever.
No.
He's okay,
Yeah.
but because of the fact that one, he's playing a character a lot of the time in Gorillaz, and two, the music is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of Gorillaz is like his voice just sounds great accompanying the music. Like he can't really hit very high notes.
Yeah.
And when he tries, it doesn't sound very good. But it still sounds okay within the song itself because it matches the kind of vibe he's going for, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely people that have a super distinct voice and really lean into it. And even if it's not always someone's cup of tea, it's like, well, they are a super
Yeah.
individual. Like David Bowie has a very distinct
Oh,
voice.
yeah.
You hear him, and I think there are definitely some songs where sometimes it doesn't work. Where you're like, okay, this is too weird. But you can pick him out easily because he sounds like him. And even as he got older, he still sounded like him. No one sings like David Bowie.
No.
Because it would be too weird to copy his style.
It would be very hard to do to do justice to him in like a musical biopic unless you just did what they did with Bohemian Rhapsody and had the lead actor lip sync.
Yeah.
You know, there's Rocket Man did a really good job, I think, of emulating.
Yeah, because Eggsy
Elton
can
John,
sing
because-
really well.
Because Taron Egerton managed to sing and managed to sound like Elton John while also sounding like himself. And that was I think the best thing about Rocket Man is that he wasn't trying too hard to be a caricature or to try and be Elton.
Yeah.
He was playing the character in the movie as well as he could.
Yeah.
And he did a fantastic job. So it's not like with Bohemian Rhapsody where Rami Malek does just a fantastic job of being Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
This is Taron Egerton playing a character who is also Elton John. So it's not like you're going into the movie and you're like, wow, that's Elton John. You're just like, wow, that's Taron Egerton doing a really good job. you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, they get him to look like Elton, and they get him to sing
Yeah.
songs,
And that's the best thing. The movie does and the thing is, unlike a lot of other music biopics, and I think Patrick H. Willems did a really good job with that video where he talks about the problem with where a lot of them just kind of feel like cliff notes
yeah,
turned into a movie. And while that can still be entertaining, like I still like Bohemian Rhapsody because it is a highly entertaining movie, regardless of editing problems during dialogue scenes.
yeah,
The rest of the movie is edited fantastically. Rocket Man really lends itself to the medium of film. It is not a story that would work as well as a stage play or as an album or a book or something. It's really becomes a movie in and of itself because of its visual trickery, because of its blending of scenes. So like in one scene he's there and then they bring in like a scene from another part of his life into that scene. It's quite surreal in a lot of moments.
yeah.
Because it's a musical. Musicals can get away with being a bit more surreal than a regular drama could.
Absolutely, and I think that there's like I haven't seen it, but Michael Hasley's told me about it, and I think that the way that they frame the story and the way that they sell the film impacts. I think like with Bohemian Rhapsody, I think that they were going like the true story of the man, and then it wasn't. So I was like, I was
Yeah.
annoyed. But then with Elton John, if they're leaning into the filmic surrealist elements of it, where they go, all right, this is you get an old Elton John which talks to a young Elton John, is like, hi, this is your story, and then they go and they do weird shit. You go, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's just about taking the essence of his life and some main events and dressing it up, and they sold it as that. And they lean into it, and they make sure that that is the product they're selling to you.
Yeah. And
So
but
if they
the
don't get
thing
it
is-
right, who cares?
Yeah, and the good thing is it doesn't even like it's not a dressing up of his life. They don't get rid of the ugly parts. They don't try and make him look like a perfect person. They do. a really good job at making him look. He is a talented man, but he has some serious problems with drugs and alcohol and trusting people. It feels like a really honest movie. It doesn't feel like it's trying to cover up anything.
And that helps because it's
Yeah.
the story of Elton
Yeah.
as opposed to the story of, say, 4 people, some of
Yeah.
which are still living.
Yeah.
If Elton is okay with certain things coming out, then it can be as real as you want it to be.
Exactly.
But part of the problem with Bo Rap and with it going, all right, this is going to be a very real film, a factually accurate story.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 people who are still alive.
One of which
doesn't want to be represented in public at all.
Yeah.
2 of which still have a legacy and are touring and making money.
Yeah.
You can only represent one person there as truthfully as you want because they can't complain about it. The only people that are around that represent Freddie's estate might be Mary Austin.
Yeah.
So, and I think that, I think even she's got some grievances about the portrayal of her in the film and the relationship that they had.
Okay.
So, but with Brian and Roger, when you watch the film, it's like, okay, Freddie's the only person that acts like a dick. Brian and Roger are like, oh yeah, Fred, we're gonna go home and see our wife and children
really,
now.
Yeah, exactly.
See ya.
They act like his parents who are like, we're better than you because we're more mature.
Fred, I think you're overdoing it. You shouldn't do as much drinking, drugs, and wild sex as us. So we're going to go home and have an early night. But but Elton's like, yeah. So I had problems with alcohol, and I was drinking stacks all the time, and I was struggling with my sexuality, and I was doing a lot of weird shit that was terrible.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about it? And we're like,
actually,
yes.
the Rocket Man apparently had a much more accurate portrayal of the guy John Reed.
Oh
Because
yeah.
he was younger, first of all, than he was in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And also he was gay in Rocket Man. None of which was portrayed in Bohemian Rhapsody. He was just kind of insert generic music producer here.
Yeah.
But in Rocket Man we get a much more detailed portrayal of that guy, as he was abusive to Elton, and he was his a more charismatic producer, But so on the topic of biopics, recently I actually had a little bit of success on Twitter. But I was talking about how I think Rami Malek would do a really good job in a Buster Keaton biopic, because not only does he look the part, especially in black and white, but he really does a good job at physical acting as well as the kind of emotional, dramatic dialogue acting. And I feel like people kind of underestimate how important being a good physical actor can be. That's what made Kramer so funny.
Yeah.
Not just because of the delivery of his lines, but the way that he moves around, and he's just a fucking crazy stick going all over the place.
Yeah, Kramer is a holistic performance. It's not just about a funny voice.
Kramer couldn't be played by a lot of other people, And that's another thing that what makes the show, what makes Charlie such a good character in Always Sunny, is not just the fact that he screams all of his lines, but that he's just this manic person waving his arms everywhere,
Manic Pixie Dream Boy.
No. Manic garbage gremlin child with a beard. That's what he is.
Oh.
He is literally like a man-child.
He's a trash man!
I happened upon a compilation of Rami Malek in this weird sitcom called
The War at Home?
Yeah, The War at Home. And the compilation gave me these, because the sitcom in the compilation gave me these weird vibes, because it in its execution, it felt like a sitcom that was on the Disney Channel, because of the way the characters acted. They acted like characters in a Disney Channel sitcom.
Yeah.
And then they had these weird asides where they would break the fourth wall and talk to the audience. And those were really poorly acted, and they really did feel like they came out of a Disney Channel sitcom. But then, the actual topics and the dialogue and everything is no, this is a more of a Modern Family kind of more mature sitcom that had more adult themes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
It
it's
just
something
felt
that
so
you couldn't
weird.
have on during the day because
It's something that, the dialogue is not something that would at all go into a Disney sitcom, you know?
Well, yeah, it's all sort of latently sexual because a lot of...
Especially the gay, because Disney doesn't like gay.
Well, that's the thing, is I think that people would... The general American public, and I think maybe even Australia, would probably have a problem with there being a children's show all about a repressed gay man.
Oh, no, Rami Malek's not the main character in that show.
Oh,
He's a side character.
Oh,
He's only in like half the episodes.
Okay, well, that compilation's
That compilation is of Rami Malek because he's like the most famous actor in that show now.
Right.
You know? Back in 2005 to 2007, he was like known for Night at the Museum, and that's like it.
Yeah.
You know?
That was all I knew him as before he was Freddy.
I before Freddy, I was a fan of Mr. Robot, so
Yeah.
I already knew he was a fantastic actor before that. But he had mainly been doing comedies, like Night at the Museum.
Really lighthearted,
Yeah.
schlocky.
Exactly.
Because, yeah, the compilation that Nick sent me is called, like, Rami Malek in the War at Home being a big gay mess for 7 minutes or something.
Yeah, 11, it was I think Rami Malek as Kenny in The War at Home being a gay disaster for 11 minutes.
Being a gay disaster.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, to me, that compilation made me think it was a show all about someone
him.
coming out.
Nah.
Nick forgot to mention that the Rami Malek compilation is what reminded him that Malek was a great physical actor. They then went off on another dumb tangent. Resume.
That's good.
That's all I had to say about gay. Let's move on to another subject. Talk about Toy Story 4. Because you saw it.
I did.
I didn't, because I have no interest in Toy Story 4.
Right, so Toy Story 4. So I grew up watching the Toy Story movies. The first one...
As did I.
Yeah, the first one came out about a year before I was born. But the second one, I was around for the second one. I owned the two of them on VHS, and I watched them all the time. I don't think the tapes work anymore because I watched them too much.
Yeah.
I loved them. And it's not just because they're like doofy kids films. They're films that you can watch at any age. Like my parents watched them probably a couple times, at least, like purposefully, and then thousands of times just by being in the room.
Yeah.
And I imagine that they liked them, and my grandparents liked them.
They were replayed on TV recently, and I rewatched 1 and 2, and they hold up. They're really well written.
I'm sure that they've given me all sorts of like problems just because of their themes of like planned obsolescence and abandonment and like selfless act. Like there's lots of things that the toys do for for Andy, for the people that they're meant to be serving, that are really not healthy for any human being to do, because toys are plastic and aren't people and don't have needs beyond serving. There's a lot of shit that they do for them and allow them to be done to themselves. It's just like, oh yeah, well it's good for Andy, so fuck me. And the worst thing for them is to be no longer useful to the person that they have dedicated their lives to, and the acceptance that eventually they will be left, and it's still traumatized. Like all of Jesse's plot, or subplot.
Oh, that is the saddest part of any of the Toy Story movies.
Yeah,
is Jesse's story.
Like When Somebody Loved Me by Randy Newman is a disastrously emotional song.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastically written and performed, or performed by Sarah McLachlan.
No, she's not the voice actress for Jessie.
No, she's a Canadian singer-songwriter from, I don't know, she does her own thing.
voices Jessie?
Basically,
Joan Cusack voices Jessie.
Joan Cusack?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So basically, these movies mean a lot to me. I went and I saw the third one. I didn't see it in cinemas. Michael brought it over because there was a period where Michael and I were trying to show each other films which we thought were important. And I tried to show Michael Schindler's List, and he fucking made jokes about Schindler's Pots the entire time.
Okay.
The thing is,
I still have yet to see that movie.
It's a 3-hour film in black and white, and it's about a very heavy subject, and there's lots of talking.
And it's Spielberg, so it's probably done really well.
Oh, it's an excellent film. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But Michael's got the attention span of a gnat, so it's got to be like actively interesting, and it's about the Jews. So obviously
he's gonna keep making jokes.
And there's this there's like this shitpost video called Schindler's Pots where they recut the trailer for Schindler's List into a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's about this jolly factory owner that like liberates all these oppressed people by making pots.
Yeah.
It's like Scary Mary, where they recut Mary Poppins into being a horror.
Okay.
So it was just every like 10 minutes, just like Schindler's Pots.
Yep.
But he brought over Toy Story 3 because he thought that was an excellent film, and I watched it, and to me, it was to Toy Story 2 what The Force Awakens is to A New Hope.
Where I would consider Toy Story 3 to Toy Story 2 what Return of the Jedi was to Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay. Because
I would consider the Toy Story trilogy very similar to the Star Wars in that the first one is good, the second one is better, and the third one is, while good, the worst of the trilogy.
Well, okay, I agree with that analysis, but the thing is, Toy Story 3 has a lot of similar beats and characters that Toy Story 2 is. So, Stinky Pete is Lotso. Yeah. He's this old curmudgeon who has a walking stick, who is in charge and doesn't want people to disrupt the status quo. Yeah. If you come into his world, you do what he says, and you cannot leave. Yeah. That's Stinky Pete's character, and it's his. Yeah.
Albeit their reasoning is different, but it doesn't really matter because they're basically the same character.
So they get...
I got that when I saw the movie in theaters, and I got that when I was watching it. I'm like, this villain is exactly the same as Stinky Pete. Even when I was 12, I got that.
Yeah. And he has a similar arc to, or a similar backstory to Jesse, and I think a similar backstory to a lot of the people that are in the collector's room in the film, where they were loved by someone, they got abandoned, and now they're just here doing whatever. Yeah. And so the classic characters of, Woody and Buzz and co get put into a new environment. They don't like it there. They want to leave. The curmudgeon that's there, that knows the true way of the world, doesn't want them to leave because the status quo, etc. Yeah. And that's the movie. While it's still a competent film, it's, I think that it's too similar to other films, and it's also the previous films that they're similar to are better. Yeah. So it's fine.
Now,
but
what about Toy Story 4?
Toy Story 4 is its own thing. Yeah. And I love it for that, because it's not a rehashing of things that have happened before. There are similar themes because they all have similar themes. Yeah. But Woody goes to a different environment, and because of the themes of planned obsolescence and about the things that... It's all about him doing things for someone. It's about him giving himself to someone else. And that's what makes Woody him. And that's what he understands a toy to be. But they fiddle with that. They go, well, okay, Andy's grown up and he's moved. Right, you served Andy for 18 years or whatever. What do you do now as a toy? So it's sort of like someone who was in a job for years and they go, right, now that I no longer work in this job, what am I? I defined myself as the baker, the doctor, the whatever, the candlestick maker, and now I don't do that. What do I do? And so they fiddle with that, and it's in a different environment. It's not just about, it's in Andy's room. Yeah. It's in a collector's place. It's somewhere new now, and it's not all about the kid. Yeah. The kid drives some of the plot by being like, we've got to make sure that Bonnie doesn't leave, or we've got to make sure that Bonnie isn't upset. Yeah. And they try and do that, but that's not the main focus. It's more about what's Woody getting up to and what is he now. And that's I really enjoyed it. I think that they made a lot of great choices. I think that it's still emotionally heavy. Yeah. They still played with themes of, of wanting to be wanted and trying to be a useful thing. Okay. But it wasn't the same characters that had that issue.
Did it feel at all like it was just made to be another Toy Story movie just to make more money?
I mean, it didn't have to exist. It wasn't a film that needed to exist, but
they still made it good.
Yeah, but because they decided to make the movie, they did something with it. It's not just about like, okay, we're going to have a big bad and we're going to have the good guy fight the big bad. Yeah. They actually take the character of Woody and they try and recontextualize him and move him along. Okay. It's a different Toy Story.
Do you think they should make a fifth one, or do you think they should leave it where it is?
I would have been fine if they just had 3. Yeah. At least this way, it's not that, the most recent Toy Story movie wasn't good. Yeah. It was a Toy Story which was serviceable. It did a different but similar thing. It didn't feel alien. It was still within the world. Yeah. My only complaint about it was that apart from Woody, the other characters that we've gone to associate with the Toy Story aren't as prominent. So Buzz isn't really in it. Jessie is barely in it.
Yeah. But it introduces a bunch of new characters to compensate, doesn't it?
Yeah. There are other like Spoonie, who gets introduced about 10 minutes into the movies.
Yeah.
He's in there a fair amount. There's another doll that they introduce who's interesting, and is kind of a Stinky Pete, kind of a Lotso.
Okay.
But they do different. She's not just the curmudgeon. They sort of get a character to have an arc. It's not just like, oh, they beat her. You know?
Yeah.
It's not just about she's bad, fuck her. It's like, okay, she's a person. Or a person in as much as she's a character. She's not just like, she's the enemy.
She's not a person, she's a toy.
Yeah. You are a toy. Huh? Annoyed grunt.
Got him.
So yeah, that's probably the doll that they introduced here is a little bit like some characters that we've seen before as the quote unquote antagonist, but the antagonist is more thematic than it is characteristic.
Okay.
There are issues that they all struggle with which are broadly antagonistic, but
Yeah.
I liked the film. I came out of it happy that they made it.
Yeah.
I don't think that they need to do any more.
Cool. I'm probably still not going to see it in theaters because I'm really disinterested in a lot of what Disney is doing at the moment.
Like with all the live action shit.
Just in general, I think the only Disney properties I actually care about, not counting Fox movies, because Fox is now technically part of Disney, the only movies that have the Disney logo, or at least a part of Disney, that I care about are Marvel and Star Wars, and even then they aren't really Disney in that they don't have the Disney logo on them. So I guess like the only Disney movie I care about that's coming out soon is actually a live action remake, but it's a live action remake with a difference. It's Mulan.
Okay.
So the new Mulan movie, the trailer came out, and of course you've got people complaining that there's not going to be any musical numbers or that they're trying to make it more serious. The cartoon dragon isn't in this movie. But that's why I love it.
Because it's different.
Because it's not trying to remake all the other it's not trying to remake the animated Mulan movie.
It's not like with The Lion King where it's
Lion
literally
King,
the film but with a
Aladdin,
different skin.
Every single live-action remake that Disney has done so far has just been a rehash of the animated movie. They haven't really tried to do anything different with any of them, apart from maybe make it look different.
Did you see the Jungle Book remake?
No, I've heard that one's good.
I liked it.
That one's good, yeah.
It's because it's not a musical romp. It is a grittier, more realistic film, and there is something to it.
Yeah, from what I've... See, the thing is, I haven't seen any of the live-action remakes, so I can't really judge them that much.
Yeah.
But from what I've gotten from the trailers, all the people I know who have seen it, they all just seem to be that movie, but now with actors.
Yeah.
And enough CGI to really consider it an animated movie anyway.
It's the same presentation. It's
the same movie, but worse.
Yeah.
Because it's just the same movie. That's what the Lion... Like, as soon as they announced that they were going to do a quote-unquote live-action remake of The Lion King, I knew this was just a cash grab. This was just a nostalgia-exploiting cash grab that just wanted to try and do what another movie had already done, but with new technology that they could have used to make a different movie.
It's a glorified tech demo.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a I mean, and Disney is notorious for shitty restorations of their old movies anyway. So that's basically what The Lion King is. It's just a over-the-top restoration of another movie, except completely reanimated with photorealistic animals and new voice actors except for Mufasa.
Why don't they do what Disney used to do, where they would make like a little short that kind of demonstrated a proof of concept? Like prior to Toy Story, there was a little short
called Knick Knack.
Yeah, where they got this little tin soldier and a baby.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's basically it's Toy Story Light, where they had the understanding of what they kind of wanted Toy Story to be and the way they wanted to make it. And they made it, and it goes like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is, like, even though we're still getting great innovative great innovative animated movies like the Lego Movie, Spider-Verse, Loving Vincent, the movies that are popular or more popular than the Lego Movie and Spider-Verse, which was still quite popular.
Yeah. Dumb shit movies.
Yeah, the movies, the animated movies that are popular look the same. DreamWorks, I think, is the worst offender at this. All of their movies look the same. Even like when they try to do a unique art style, like with Megamind, it's still undeniably a DreamWorks movie. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just think I would like, because it's animation and you can do literally whatever you want with animation, I think it'd be great if we had a bit more variation in art style. Every 3D animated movie now is trying to look like a Pixar or a DreamWorks movie.
Yeah.
And so when you get a movie like Into the Spider-Verse that has its own unique art style, its own brand new and unique style of animation in which in the ways that the characters move, the way that instead of showing as a blur, it is shown as chromatic abrasion. It's this beautiful, innovative, colorful, wonderful movie, and I would love if we got more animated movies like that, more big budget animated movies that tried something new, or at least didn't look the same as what Pixar and DreamWorks are doing. Like, I'm fine with DreamWorks just making movies that look the same, as long as it's DreamWorks making those movies.
Yeah.
When Disney makes movies that look like DreamWorks movies, or when Blue Sky, for example,
Oh god.
they make movies that look exactly the same as DreamWorks or Pixar movies, instead of kind of adhering to their own art style for human characters. Because, I mean, a lot of Blue Sky movies don't have human characters.
No.
And granted, that is probably the best medium for animation, is to make movies without human characters.
Yeah.
And which is, I think, a lot of the best animated movies tend to do that. Granted, there are a lot of animated movies that have human characters, like Loving Vincent or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
The great thing about those movies is that they look so different.
Yeah.
And Loving Vincent should have won. I'm still angry that Loving Vincent didn't win Best Animated Picture, because not only was it a beautifully told story, but it was this brand new form of animation that, while a form of rotoscoping, still looked beautiful.
Exactly. Like, I enjoyed it immensely, and I thought that was... Because you definitely get some people that will come up with a way to do something just for the purpose of being like, oh, it's different.
Yeah.
But it was actually really well utilized, and it made sense.
It
They
wasn't
didn't
just a
do something to be special.
It wasn't a gimmick.
They did it because they felt that it was thematically and narratively relevant, and it looked spectacular.
Well, yeah. Sony Pictures, they make some bad movies, but even their bad movies, like the Emoji Movie, have a unique art style and look pretty. And same with their movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
It's actually a gorgeous movie with a unique art style that is reminiscent of 60s style cartoons.
Yeah.
The Incredibles do the same thing in their caricatures. They look a lot like the art style of 50s and 60s style cartoons. And I think The Incredibles is actually set in the 60s.
Well, yeah, like the quote-unquote architecture, all the sort of the designs of the houses are very sort of Art Deco.
And the movie itself is almost as if Saul Bass made a 3D animated movie. It's that really good attention to detail and the art style. And I mean, I think the ending credits are basically just an upgrade of the paper cutout kind of animation that Saul Bass used to do. Saul Bass, if you didn't know, is the father of modern graphic design, basically. He created the title cards and posters for a lot of iconic movies. Vertigo, well, actually most of Hitchcock's movies.
Oh, yeah.
He did a lot of Scorsese movies as well. And so he's basically like, if he didn't exist, movies would look very different. And in fact, we probably would still have the same boring title cards at the beginning of every movie. So yeah. That's my rant about the state of animation in film. I would love to just see more 2D animated movies as well. Traditionally, animated movies are dying. Granted, there's a lot of fantastic animation work done in music videos and short films. That's where most of the innovative animation is done nowadays.
Well, that's because it takes so long.
Because it takes so long, exactly. But most of the good 2D animation nowadays is coming from Japan, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Anime always looks good. Well, not always, but usually, especially from big budget companies like whatever the studio is that made My Hero Academia, because that is one of the best looking anime of all time. My Hero Academia. Have you watched it?
No.
It has some of the best action animation I've ever seen in both Western and Eastern animation. The way that it conveys the weight and the power of some of these characters is just gorgeous. And even though like a lot of it is animated looking like just kind of a typical high school anime, when it comes to the action scenes, it is stunning. And it is telling that it is a big budget anime production. I think One Punch Man does the same thing. It looks really good. I think they changed studios in the second season because the animation style actually looks quite different in the second season. It's still really good though. You look like you have a question.
Oh.
That's it for this episode of the Temporary Uncles podcast. Tune in next episode when Ben and Nick do the Ice Bucket Challenge and invade the country of Finland.